Hello, welcome to our Intro to Education presentation. I'm Austin Haddon.
And I'm Chris Salcone.
Why don't we get started? And this is our ideal school. So, you may be asking, what's our school's grade levels? Well, me and Chris thought that it'd be best to choose high school students. All right. Now you might be asking, well, what is the school's mission statement? Well, the school's mission statement is to create an environment where students are excited to independently learn and grow. And why is that, Chris?
Now, this is the school's mission statement because obviously students need teachers to learn, but some of the time you need to do some learning independently, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just always rely on a external factor for your education.
Very true. Now, you may be wondering, what's the school climate? What's the culture of the school? And what values are so clearly evident? Well, first off, we thought that empowerment is something that is very necessary for schools. This is because students can only be brought to their ultimate potential when us as faculty and teachers can push them to that limit. Also, we have inclusivity. Now, let's say you empower the students, but they are not including one another. Then you have a very bad school. And it is not good to have biases and such. So it will be a big point in the school to have programs that break down biases. And then finally, we have encouragement. Now, yes, this is going to be a school where we foster encouragement, no negativity. All right, so yeah, we're a school and we have goals. We have long goals. And one of these goals is that we are going to have 100% passing rates for the next 20 years. Now, this seems like a hard goal, but we think with all of our funding, we'll be able to reach that goal. All right, and then another one of our goals is to create a welcoming environment for all students. Like we talked about before about inclusivity. We just need to be an environment where everybody is appreciated and respected. And as teachers and faculty, we are going to foster that environment. And that is a goal for us. All right, and now the final goal that is long term is that we are going to create clubs, many clubs that involve students. Now, this involves inclusivity, empowerment, and encouragement because it is clubs and student-led organizations that bring students to their fullest potential. Anything to add to that, Chris?
Yes, as you can see that these goals align with our main mission statements because by creating a welcoming environment and also having clubs are a great welcoming environment and it helps empower and encourage our students to perform their best academically.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the Ohio Whole Child Framework is great, but how does our school implement it? Well, for one aspect of the Ohio Whole Child Framework, we are going to be bringing in healthy food, organic food from Trader Joe's, and we're just gonna make sure that the kids are fed well with their macronutrients, everything they need, seeds, everything. We don't want malnourished students because malnourished students do bad tests, and we want 100% passing rates for the next 20 years. So, and what good is it to teach if our students get harmed. That is why we are going to have bodyguards. But we do not support guns, and we are against gun violence. So we are arming our bodyguards with swords. All right. Now, the students need to be engaged. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to get all the new tech that is coming, all the AI. We're not going to reject it, but we're going to implement it and use it for the good of the students, keep them engaged. Then, counseling. Okay, Chris is going to talk about this later, but teacher counseling is important. But also, we need counseling, individual one-on-one counseling with the students. Listen, not every student has somebody that is going to check in on them and support them. So, yeah, so it's super crucial that we can be those people to check in on them, make sure that they're doing okay in the classroom, at home, bringing in family. Yes. All right. Challenge each student depending on their level. Jimmy, who's succeeding in the STEMs, and Marissa, who's not succeeding in the STEMs, can't be taught the same things, okay? Marissa needs to be challenged in her own way. So that is why we have multi-tiers. We have tiers, okay, in our learning. And yeah, it's very backed up by science, and it's very good for the students. So yeah, that is how our school meets the requirements of the whole Ohio Child Framework. Do you have anything to add to that, Chris?
Not particularly, but I will be going in depth on a response to intervention later in this presentation.
Very good. Behavior management systems. How do our teachers implement this? Okay, well, students can be very difficult sometimes. And yeah, we need to be making sure that we're using the best techniques, that we're empowering, including, encouraging. All right, so routine, and a clear syllabus at that. So we can't be throwing curveballs at these students. We need to be not veering them off the path in ways that are unnecessary. So we need to be clear. The students need to know what they need to do. Come into class, boom, we're doing this. No surprises. Okay, discussion-based lessons. Yes, these are very stimulating towards the students. Nobody wants to listen to a teacher who is up lecturing for 2 hours straight. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, students aren't going to listen. So we need to constantly be prodding them through discussion and group activity work. All right, so positive language. I'm not tapping on my phone for a script, it's a timer, just letting you know. Okay, so positive language. We need positive language because, so here's an example. So let's say Chris is a student and he is messing with his chair. So he's messing with his chair, and we're not going to say, Chris, don't mess with your chair, because kids want to rebel. So instead, what we're going to say is positive. We're going to say, can we please listen and pay attention attentively? That is how we're going to be teaching in our school. Only positive language. Break. Okay, it still looks good. Okay. Okay.
All right, so now we're on to how our school is going to be using response to intervention. Now, in order to identify this, what typically happens is There will be standardized testing, and a student who underperforms on this one specific test will be put in like a group of special interest. Now, that that is not a good way of going about this, because sometimes a student could just do poorly on a test, but they can get all the information fine, and they're very academic. They're very academically inclined, but a singular test doesn't reflect this. Now, we will be using assessments. However, we will not dictate it only on one. We will use several low stake assessments over a period of the student's educational career to then find out whether or not they're struggling or thriving. Now, additional help will be given to these students that need help. We will have specific instructors for each class. I would say tutors. We promote tutoring, which also gives students time to interact with other students and teach each other, which will heighten their learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
And on the behavioral side, we'll have conduct instructors, but we don't want them to be mean. So we will have to survey and we'll have to interview every single one until we find the right people for our school. Because we don't want any mean people just causing anarchy to our students. We don't like that. Now, next slide. How will we support cultural background in our classrooms? Now, we want all of our teachers to be educated on cultural awareness.
Yeah.
So we will have all of our teachers, prior to getting the job, we want them to go through a specific class in our mentoring program. We want them to all be culturally aware, and we want them to learn about the history of each culture, so they know not to discriminate against anybody, and they know all the hardships of each culture. So we will be disciplining all discrimination in our school. We don't want any of that to happen. So if there's any discrimination between students or teachers to students or any of that, that will be like one of the top things that we punish in our school. We will not let this slide. Bullying as well. We don't like bullying either. So these kind of go hand in hand. Our school will also have a yearly culture fair where each student can bring something to the commons and share a little bit of their culture, so everybody can enjoy everybody else's culture. I think that would be a great way of promoting cultural awareness. Now, for our students who don't speak English as their first language, we will implement ELLs, or English language learning, for our students. And in a perfect world, we will have multilingual teachers, but that might be unrealistic to find a full staff of multilingual teachers. So we will just we will do the best we can in our staffing. But now, how will our school support trauma victims? Now, we will have an in-school therapist, and my school had an in-school therapist, and let's just say he kind of worked overtime to all of our high school students. So we will have multiple therapists to help all of our students process anything. Something I thought was a decent idea is students could fill out a trigger awareness form so that teachers and staff can avoid topics of traumatic resemblance for the students. You know what I mean?
Triggers.
Yes, you don't want to cause anybody to have a breakdown or anything. So if the students fill out something to preface the teachers to stray away from certain topics, we want this to be a safe environment for all of our students. So I think an awareness form would be a good idea to implement.
Mm-hmm.
In all of our classrooms, in our commons areas, I would like to add a relaxation area in case any student is a little bit too stressed out or they need some time to take a break. There will be a nice relaxation zone for them to calm down in. Now, teachers, they will be taking a course as a part of our mentorship program, And that will another one of those classes is going to be a trauma response class. So they will know how to deal with students who are suffering from trauma, and they will know how to react in case any bad breakdowns happen in class.
Mhm.
Now, as for technology in the classroom, I like smart boards. Even though they don't really work all the time, I just think that they're a staple for any classroom.
Sure.
As for interface, I personally liked using Canvas when I was in high school. If you do not know what Canvas is, it's pretty much like what Blackboard is, except each teacher can have their like individualized page and like way of turning in assignments and everything, which I feel like that gives teachers freedom, and also it is not the most difficult thing to use, so students should be able to figure it out as well. Now, Kahoot, we all love Kahoot. It's always a fun and competitive time and promotes academic competition, which can also push students to wanting to learn more so that they can top on the leaderboards.
Yep.
Now, I'm a Google Drive enthusiast. I prefer it over all of the Word programs. So all of the computers in the school are going to have Google Drive as the default.
Yep.
Now, as for the teacher mentoring, I already talked about some of the classes that they are going to be taking. For example, the trauma response and the cultural awareness. But there will also be monthly meetings between staff and teachers where they can collaborate and kind of figure out what works, what doesn't work. So it's not like one teacher can be isolated doing his own thing. It's more like all of the teachers are a community and they're all learning from each other and they're creating the best educational environment for our students. That's also what the collaboration between peers is. I want all of the staff to work together to do a good job. And they must meet our educational requirements. I suggest that they have a minimum of a bachelor's degree, preferably a master's degree, because we want educated teachers in our school. And we will require them to have teaching experience of some sort, preferably 2 to 4 years prior to starting this job at this school. Anything you'd like to add, Austin?
Man, I wish I went to this school. Don't you, Chris?
Me
Put
too.
it here.